Well, good morning. So I'm sitting here in my office. Today has been it seems like when I make these videos, it's always been kind of an emotional thing. And I'll tell you that when you are dealing with God and what He's called you to do, it should be emotional, to say the least. You know, I've been reminded a couple of times in like the last few weeks, more prevalently, probably in the last week, why we're doing what we're doing. And you might say, like, well, what are you talking about, Russ? Well, if you have been following, I just got back from Dublin, Ireland, going to ARC Europe conference. And ARC is an organization called Association of Related Churches. Their whole goal, premise, and purpose, and function and mission is to plant life-giving churches. Now, oddly enough, our intention was never to plant a church. But the more God led us down this avenue, the more we felt led to do this very thing. Now, our ultimate goal is not to pastor those churches. At least that's our thought right now. God has already changed things so many times that it's hard to stay on track with what God has for us because, one, we're not in the mission field, so we're having to stay really fluid. But moreover, the functionality of support raising by itself has been extraordinarily difficult, way more than I thought. And that just goes to show ego, where that was at, or confidence. And I don't think the confidence was misplaced. I think it was just God has a journey and we need to learn something from what we're going through. And we are. I'm not going to say it's been painful. I will say that there has been some growing pains, if you know what I'm talking about. It is not easy to come to somebody and say, hey, we're going to go to Scotland, a place of beauty and intrigue, and the people are phenomenal, and the landscapes are amazing, and we would like for you to give us $100 a month so we can go there. But what I don't think people realize is that it's not a vacation. And we don't take it that way. Are we going to spend some time doing that stuff? Absolutely. You'd be a fool not to go and enjoy Scotland to some extent. However, this song is not helping me. In Shadrach's book, we're packing up all of our stuff to get ready to move, so we have stuff everywhere, and now my Bibles are probably going to fall over. You guys have heard me talk about this book in the past. I'm going to tell you that if you have not read this book, I highly recommend it, even if you're not a missionary, because it's the first few chapters are all about biblical giving, which has forever changed my mind on how Lisa and I give to ministry, how we tithe, how we give gifts and offerings. But I don't think that our tithe will ever be the same because of that book. But one of the things that the author, his name is Steve Shadrach, talked about, and I'll never forget it, was he said, if you have not shed tears or have you not cried enough about the place that God's calling you to be, then you're probably not supposed to go to that place. And I'm summarizing. I'm going to find that actually because it's so important. At least and I find ourselves in tears a lot. A lot. We start talking about what God is doing and how He's doing it and why He's doing it. And we talk about the sacrifices that God's calling us to make. And I'm watching my wife pack up our house. And she's worked really, really hard to build us a home and sacrificed quite a bit to build us a home, somewhere that felt comfortable and safe, somewhere where we could do life and ministry and love and foster our family and things like that. And we've spent the last 31 years getting to where we are. And now we're selling it. I'm not telling you that to make you feel bad. I'm sharing that because when God asks you to do something and you know it's Him, don't hesitate. See, one of our values we stole from Life Church was we give up things that we love for things that we love even more. And that's huge. We love Jesus more than we love our cars. We love Jesus more than we love our home. We love Jesus more than we love the things in this office. This office is going to tore up right now. There's not much an office left, but so we're giving it up. We love our children, but we love Jesus more. And we're leaving 3 children, a home, a life in Florida to go and serve the purpose that God has for us. I gotta be honest with you, I really didn't think it was much of a sacrifice at first. And I'll tell you why. I've been so excited about what God is doing that I just been all in. But it's actually Pastor Todd that I spoke with when we were over in Ireland. I had an opportunity, and Pastor Todd says, "So tell me what's going on," and which is kind of freaky, anyways. But I was telling him, I'm like, "Look, here's the deal. We're selling everything," and he's like, "Wow." And I go, "Our house, our cars, our businesses, she's leaving her job. We're leaving our children here. We're leaving our family here. We're giving it all up. We're picking up our cross and crossing the pond." And he said, "Well, that's quite a sacrifice." And for some reason, when Pastor Todd said that, it kind of hit home. It is a sacrifice. But we sacrifice things we love for things that we love even more. Okay? And so we're going to be talking about that a lot. And we're just going to ask you to really keep that in mind because it's so true. The other one, too, is I think that's a big one. I'm trying to find it here. Give me 1 second. Oh. So when Pastor Todd said that, he goes, "Well, you're sacrificing a lot." And the first thing I thought of, I got a little, I don't know why that was eye-opening for me at that moment. Probably because it was somebody that I respect. I don't know him very well. I love him for who he is, but I don't know him to say I love him like a brother. I'm going to follow him into the fire and all that, but I respect him a lot. And when he said that, this other value came to my mind because I was like, why is it so prevalent? And I had told him, I'm like, yeah, we're betting it all. Not on us. We're betting it all on God. And I thought of our other value is that we take risks. We're a faith-filled, big-thinking, bet-the-farm risk takers. We will never insult God. Ever insult God with small thinking and safe living. Listen, we can have a house fire tomorrow. We lose everything. And we get a life insurance policy or a fire insurance policy and start over. How is this not the same? We are literally giving it up and taking the money from it and putting it into something we know and love. So that's where we're going. You know, oddly enough, from Friday, I got my butt kicked on Friday spiritually, guys. I'm not going to lie. I have a friend I'm concerned about that's recovering from narcotics. We have people that are overseas that are hurting. We have people in our backyard that are hurting. We have people at our church we hear stories about. And now I understand when pastors say there's a different element to what we do when we have people that we love. And for the first time since January, I had one little voice that was starting to cut through that was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And I tell you what, I was kind of beside myself on Friday because I have not doubted at all. Not even a shred until last week. And so I'm going to see if I can find this. I can't find it. So last week I told Lisa, I said, "Hey, I'm hurting pretty bad this week. I feel like I'm getting my butt kicked." I had a pastor of a church, local church, call me out on why we're doing what we're doing, because his mission field's more important than everybody else's. That's ultimately what it came down to. God shed truth on that. I didn't take it too much to heart, but when you've been working for 4 months, 3 months to raise awareness and to raise support, and you've been going, it's trickling, right? It's not going to how bad I want it or how fast I want it or the depth that I want it. It's coming. And I know that it's all in God's timing. I know that, but I need to know that. And so on Friday, I started going like, man, I feel like I'm letting our team down. I've been home from Ireland, came off of a big high, and stepped out in faith on something God had us do there. If you're in the know, you're in the know. If not, don't worry about it. And so on Friday night, Elisa goes, let's go to a movie. Let's get away from everything just for a couple hours. And I was like, how about 3? So we went and saw Mission Impossible. And at the end of the movie, Ving Rhames' character, Luther, has a part where he dialogues in a little device. This is not the device, it's just an example of a device where he's telling Ethan about his purpose and his destiny. And I'll admit, Mission Impossible 5 was pretty good, or 6, whatever which one it was. The Reckoning, Final Reckoning. It was pretty good. I won't lie. But I like those. Oh, I found it. It popped up in my history. But this is what Luther goes on to say, and I just feel like, I hate to say like God was using a movie. I hate to say that God was using a Scientologist or anybody else to reach me. But for some reason, this spoke volumes. So Luther's talking to Ethan at the end of it, says, hello, brother. If you're listening to this, the world is still here, and so are you. If you didn't know, Ethan saves the world again. For the record, I never had a moment of doubt. I knew you'd find a way. You always do. I hope in time you can see that this life is not some kind of quirk of fate. This is what gets me. This was your calling, your destiny. See, that's where my questions started lying. I started looking at it going like, man, I'm hurting a little bit, right? Like I'm not having doubts. I had a doubt. Split second. That's all the enemy needs, right? That's just that little open piece of light for him to get in and crawl his way in and start pushing apart. That's all he needs, even for somebody like me. But see, my God is greater. My God is bigger. My God is more faithful. My God is truth. My God is light. My God speaks to me through movies of somebody that's like Tom Cruise with offset teeth. I'm just saying, I'm just claiming it. You know it's true. You can't see him smile without seeing it. But he uses it, right? And it was that you're calling. This is your calling. This is your destiny. Here's what really gets me. If you know about the 33, about something that happened in Dublin, something I experienced that I didn't know what was going to come of it, he goes on to say this: a destiny that touches every living thing. Like it or not, we are masters of our fate. Well, we're not masters of our fate. We're masters of our decisions, but not our fate necessarily. It says nothing's written on our cause, however righteous, pales in comparison to the impact of our effect. Okay, so he goes on to talk about that, and I didn't really get caught up in that, but what really struck me was, this is your calling. This is your destiny. And here's the thing that you may not know if you haven't seen the movie. Luther's not there. Spoiler alert, Luther dies, okay? But Luther from the grave is even talking to Ethan and hope and encouragement even then. So let me just say this, because I've had people ask, where are you at in your support? How are you doing? Support raising is no joke. I've said that time and time again. Support raising is humbling. It is rewarding. It is frustrating. It is humbling. I've already said that, but it is. But amazingly, how God shows up every single time is worth it. Like, if you look at the people who are giving to our ministry right now, it's literally the names of people we want. Not because it's their money or their $10 or their $1,000. It's because of who they are. It's because of the mission and vision and the impression that God has put on their heart. Those are the people we want to partner with us and for us. Just to confirm what I'm talking about. I'm trying to breathe because I don't know if I'm ready to tell the story yet. What I'm going to say is God did something really, really cool a week ago Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. He used me in a way, and I questioned it. I was thinking it was kind of dumb. It was a cool story. It was kind of a feel-good story to people that were around. But today, yeah, I'm not ready. There's when you witness something like God, and you get to see it, and you get to taste it, you get to feel it, you get to be a part of it. I can't think of a greater privilege or honor. I can't think of anything that compares to that. Because what God did a week ago, a little bit over a week ago, and how He used it, and it's one situation that I know out of how many situations. So I want to use this moment to encourage you pastors, you teachers, you preachers, you missionaries out there. Hear me. You may never, ever know the impact you make in somebody's life. I've heard this story a million times about the person that seeds this or sows the seed may never see the harvest. And it never really made sense, but it does now. It does now. I got to watch a seed get planted, and I got to hear of the harvest. I didn't get to see it, but I got to hear of the harvest. And the best part was, I played such a small role that it had to be God. Only God that made it happen. But do you know how cool it is? How awesome to say I was a part of that? One little thing that maybe changed somebody's life forever. Not just changed their life, but maybe impacted the people around them. All because of a piece of bread. What can I say? My God is bigger. My God is badder than the enemy in a good way. My God is gracious. He is faithful. He is good. And I'm just going to tell you guys now, whoever's watching this video, the two of you that might watch, we're not going to relent. Lisa and I are in this. We know our calling. And our goal is to be gone, or have money collected, not money collected, but pledges by June 20th of 100% support. Those are dates that we put on, they're self-imposed to help drive us to keep motivating. But you know what? Here's the thing, man. If we end up in Scotland now or next year and God uses us, it's all for His purpose. We're just playing our roles and kind of going to the value that, I don't know if we have that one or not. Yeah, that's that one we did. But in Leadership College, Christ Fellowship has a value that says the role that we play is bigger than the role that we're part of. And but we all play a role, and that's all Lisa and I are asking to do. That's it. So, with that said, we're going to be faithful in the small things so we can go do the big thing later. Sorry for getting emotional, but our God is an emotional God, man. He does some amazing things. So I would ask you to be praying for our future supporters. And if you're watching this and you haven't decided to be a supporter yet, would you think about it? Like, if you haven't got the presentation, email us, weavers@godsnotdead.org. Or you can even email me directly, russ@weavers.life. I don't care. I'll get it to you one way or another. But the UK is not cheap to live in, and our ministry is not cheap. But the lives of those people that we're going to touch are priceless. And this song is going to make me cry. Love you guys.